Hi everybody, this is another live dating and relationship Q&A. I'm Natalie Ford, dating coach for women. I specialize in supporting women with high standards who want to find their ideal man and cultivate lasting love. So thank you so much. A couple of you did DM me to ask anonymous questions, which I'm going to answer on today's live. And you can also ask me any questions just in the chat here, or if you're feeling to actually come on camera, you can request to click the request to join button, and then you can come on live and ask me a question live. So I'm just waiting for a few people to hop on because I know there was a few of you that wanted to just join. It has been the most glorious weather here in London. Let me just do you a quick turnaround to see my garden. Yeah, I think you can see. Yeah, this is my beautiful garden and the weather. And you can see I've been sunbathing on the sun lounger. Hello, my loves who are joining. Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a Q&A on dating and relationships. And if you have got a dating or relationship question, such as, you're struggling with a particular situation in your relationship, and you want to receive some expert guidance on that, then just drop me a comment here, or you can come on live and ask the question. I also received a couple of anonymous questions that I'm going to answer. Those were sent to me in advance on DM, which is something you can do for next time if you particularly don't want to ask it here on the chat. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natalie Ford. I'm a dating coach for women. And I am intending to hold these Q&A sessions once a week because I really, really enjoy them. I love interacting with you all and hearing your questions and supporting you in whatever way I can. So I think next week I'll probably do it Tuesday because Wednesday is the summer solstice and I will be out dancing and partying because summer solstice is a big thing for me. But generally I'm going to keep it on a Wednesday. So I will, you guys can join as and when you join. Hello to those of you who have joined. So beautiful to have you here with me. Let's start on the questions. As I say, if you have a question, just put it in the comment, or you can click the request to join to come on live and ask the question live. But I'm going to start with one of the questions that I was asked anonymously. That is, if you have a hidden disability, such as mental health, how do you go about letting somebody that you're new to dating, how do you go about letting them know that you have a hidden disability? And I think there was a second question in there, which I may or may not get to today, which was, what do you do if your partner's family have concerns around your hidden disability? That second question, we'll see if we get to it, but the first one for sure. So a disability that is not visible is something that is intimately known to you, and yet maybe not intimately known to anybody else, particularly if it's very hidden. And you may feel very private about that. You may want to keep that quite close to your chest, and yet also, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you're going to want to share it with them, because you can't realistically have a relationship, like a meaningful relationship, if you are holding back and if you are keeping secrets. So where do you find this balance between holding something tender and vulnerable close to you and being open and honest and in integrity with your partner? So let's speak into that. And if any of you have questions, or if it resonates with you, or if you want me to dive deeper into any areas, just put a comment below, and I'll respond to you in this live. So what I would say about anything that you're holding that feels vulnerable, that feels private, before you reveal that to somebody, you want to make sure that it's the right person to reveal it to. So I have seen people put things very openly on their dating profile, and that might be the right thing for you to do if you're comfortable doing that. But what I would also say is that sometimes people can be judgmental, and sometimes people can overlook you because they have some preconceived idea about what your disability means. And that might come from a complete lack of understanding, lack of familiarity. If they've never been around somebody who has that disability, then they might just have some stories in their head, right? Then they're not trying to be nasty. They're not trying to be negative towards you. They've just created some perceptions in their mind about what it might be like to date somebody with that disability. And so when you put it directly on your dating profile, you're going to miss all of those people who, if they got to know you a little bit more and if they understood a little bit more about the disability, they might actually be totally fine with it. So that's down to your personal decision. You know, would you rather only be with people who are like from the beginning, hell yes, I'm totally fine with this, like it's no problem? Because that might be something that you need, to have somebody who's that rock solid being okay with your disability, in which case put it on your dating profile or mention it, early in the communication. But what I would say is there can be a shadow that plays out here. And the shadow is that I want the person to know this thing about me because I believe that they're probably going to reject me for it. And I want to just get the rejection over and done with, so that, well, actually, on a deeper level, probably what's going on in your mind is so that I can reinforce the belief that actually I'm unlovable and nobody's ever going to want to be with me. That's a little bit deep, so let's not totally go there. But just notice if you've got any beliefs that probably everybody's going to reject this, and actually it's better to just tell them, get the rejection over and done with, and, sort of get the pain up front. Because you might actually really be sabotaging yourself in that way. When we have a limiting belief or a belief that is based in fear, which is the same thing, we can actually manifest it. We can actually create it because we're so busy trying to not have it, not create it, that all of our energy gets focused on it, and where attention goes, energy will flow. So just be aware that if you have a fear that because of a certain thing, people will reject you outright, and then there can be a fear of either not wanting to tell them or wanting to just get it over and done with. And yeah, you could work with a coach or a therapist around that to just get more comfortable in it in yourself. But in order to answer the question, how would I advise somebody to navigate letting a new person know that they have a hidden disability? What I would say is this. I would say, know very clearly the type of person that you want to be with. And know very clearly what sort of qualities that person is going to exhibit. If you feel like they're going to be comfortable holding space for you to share about your disability. And if I say that in more concrete terms, more like real life terms, you might want to just check them out a little bit. Like, just inquire in a one-to-one conversation. Don't do this over text message. I know it can be tempting because, you're not face to face, but in a conversation, just drop into them. If we're talking about mental health, for example, just check in with them, hey, how do you take care of your mental health? And just see how they handle the subject. Are they like, oh, I don't really have any mental health issues? In which case, they might not be the right sort of person for you. Or if they're like, oh, actually, yeah, I meditate and I make sure that I manage my stress levels, already they're showing you signs like, oh, I have awareness on this. I have awareness of what mental health is and how to take care of myself in that way. In which case, I wouldn't immediately necessarily blurt out, oh yeah, this is a big thing for me. But you can start to check them out a little bit, like how do they handle the subject? And maybe they'll ask you, how do you look after your mental health? And you can say, you don't necessarily have to say, like, I have a lot of challenges in this area. You can just say, well, these are some of the things I do. If you do have a lot of challenges in that area, or we're talking about some other type of hidden disability, then I would just test the waters a little bit, just to see how do they handle it, because you want to hold a standard for yourself, right? A high standard for yourself, that if it doesn't look like they're going to be compassionate and they're going to be emotionally mature enough to have a conversation about this in a way that doesn't shame you and doesn't make you wrong and doesn't criticize you, then they are not the right person for you to be dating. Categorically. And the best thing you can do is to love yourself enough to say, okay, this is not the right person for me. Thank you. It's been great getting to know you. And I'm not feeling like we're aligned. And, I'm going to move on. So it's really, this applies for any standard, right? We're just particularly talking today about like hidden disabilities with the example of mental health. But really, it applies for all standards. You want to test the water with people. I still have, and had when I was looking for my forever person, I had the standard that I wanted them to be able to talk about difficult subjects. And I wanted them to be comfortable doing that. I also wanted them to be able to uphold boundaries with ease. And I wanted to make sure that they knew about things to do with the mind. I wanted them to be familiar with words like emotional triggers. I can't remember what the other ones are now. My mind's just gone blank. Things like projection, to know like, what does it mean to project on somebody? What does it mean to, fear something about yourself and actually see it in everybody around you because you're not fully owning it in yourself? This is what we call a projection. So literally within the first 5 messages of meeting my beloved online, I said to him, literally, I said, what do you know about your own mind and your own psyche and how it can cause you to judge people? And we had a little conversation about that. And then I said, do you know what a projection is? And he was like, yeah, I know that like you can project onto people and you can have a false image of them. So immediately I knew, before I'd even met him in person, right? This is just online dating, our first 5 messages. I knew immediately that he was self-aware, that he knew what it meant to be projecting an experience on somebody. He knew that it was possible, and he potentially had the awareness to recognize when he was doing it himself. I also asked him if he knew what triggers were, and he was like, yes. He sort of rolled his eyes a bit as if to say like, yes, I really know what these things are. At which point my nervous system started to go, oh, okay, good. We've got a good one here. We've got someone who talks my language, who knows about the things that I want to share about in my day-to-day life. Because for me, talking about triggers, projection, self-awareness, this type of thing, like this is literally my everyday conversation. I know, if it's not your everyday conversation, you might find that a little bit strange. But for me, this is what I talk about with my friends. It's even what I talk about with my mum, who, bless her, I love her to pieces. She's like in her 70s, and she has done some personal development work, but she doesn't really know what a projection is. She doesn't really understand when she's projecting on people, but I can talk to her conceptually about the idea about it, and we vibe on that level a little bit. So with all standards, I would say you want to be testing the water really early, and not in a way that you're interrogating somebody like, tell me about this, do you know about these things, but just finding subtle ways to bring it into conversation, and not being scared to walk away. Like if I had asked my beloved, tell me about your psyche or whatever, and he was a bit like, what are you talking about? You know, and if I said, well, do you know what a projection is? He'd be like, well, a projector isn't that like what you put on the wall to watch like a movie? And, you know, if we'd have continued down that conversation, if it had become really obvious that he had no idea what I was talking about, I would have said, you know what, thank you so much for spending time chatting with me. I'm feeling like we're not really aligned, and I'm going to close the connection and move on. And yeah, you know, I literally would have been like, see you later, Sinara, you know, off we go. And this is the level that you want to be holding your standards to. And you want to get so comfortable in yourself that you have these standards and that you're worthy of these standards, that you can talk about them very naturally without feeling like you need to tiptoe around them. And so when we come back to, you know, like hidden disabilities or mental health, have it as a standard for yourself that whoever you are getting into a relationship with is comfortable with that subject. And maybe they lack education, because not everybody knows about hidden disabilities and mental health and things like that. But hold the standard for yourself that when you start to talk about these things, when you begin to educate them, that you want them to receive the information in a certain way. And if they're receiving it with an open heart and interest and like genuine, like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm interested. Tell me about this. How can I support you with this? You know, what do you need? Brilliant. You've got a good one. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. But if they start getting triggered or trying to shame you, blame you, make you wrong, criticize you, that is a huge red flag. That is a get out of here now type red flag. So yeah, it all comes down to standards. I hope that answered your question. To my anonymous question answerer, you can let me know. Does anybody else have any questions? I see there's a few of you online. Hello. Yeah, let me know. Are there any other questions? I think there was one other anonymous question, if I can remember what it was. Let me take a water break. A drink break, not the other type of water break. I forgot. I forgot what the other thing was that I was. Okay. There was a part 2 of that question. It was, what do you do if your partner's family is concerned around it? I guess I would educate them. I would sit down the ones who are with your partner, bearing in mind, so I'm already assuming that you have a standard, that your partner is comfortable with this and supportive of you with this. If you don't already have that standard, don't go to this next level, because you don't have the support needed to have this next conversation. But assuming that your partner is supportive of you and is comfortable with the conversation, I would get your partner to sit with you and with the family that have concerns, and I would just talk openly and honestly with them about it, about how it impacts you, how you handle that. Maybe not so much focusing on how it impacts you, because that might actually be something quite private for you, something quite vulnerable, but how you manage it, like what steps you take to look after yourself. And what they probably really want to know, but they don't know how to ask for, because most people don't really know how to ask for things. What they probably really want to know is, how can we support you? What do you need from us to support you with this challenge? So you can have a think about, like, how do you need them to show up for you? What are the things that you would love them to ask you, to check in on you? Are there any practical things that they can do to support you? How can they show up for you in a way that's really loving and supportive? And you can let them know. You can say, hey, it would be really great for me if you wanted to do these things. This is what I find really supportive, and I would love it if you wanted to do these things. So that is how I would handle the family situation. yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there today. That feels like enough. So hello, I see some people just joined. We're just at the end, but you can watch the replay. As I say, I'm going to do these Q&As once a week because I really enjoy them. It's usually going to be on a Wednesday, but next week is a special Wednesday because it is summer solstice. So I'm going to do it Tuesday, same time Tuesday. And, oh wait, I think I might have just booked a call at that time. Okay, stay tuned because I'm not entirely sure what time next Tuesday. I might have just booked a call at this time. Oh wait, there's a question. Hang on. Okay, there's a question here. Thank you for that. My girlfriend is getting angry at me because she doesn't turn me on. Okay, so I'm just trying to tune into the nuances of like how to navigate that. So I mean, she's feeling angry because she's feeling rejected, right? So don't take that anger to mean that like you've done something wrong. You haven't. She's just feeling rejected and hurt. So what I would encourage you to do is to check in with yourself, like take some quiet time with yourself to find out what is it that you need to be turned on. You can explore your own body, self-pleasure, touch yourself and work out, what do I need to be turned on? And then communicate that to her, because it's never really about a person turning us on or not turning us on. Like, chemistry comes and goes in relationships. Like, no relationship has amazing chemistry all of the time for forever. Humans just don't really work that way. So it's more like, what do you need to feel turned on? And it might be touch, but actually what's usually at play if we're not feeling turned on by somebody is emotional safety. Usually what's at the bottom of this is that somewhere, for some reason, you don't feel emotionally safe with this person, and therefore your body has shut down, and therefore the sexual arousal and chemistry has shut down. So work out like why, if this is resonating for you, work out why are you not feeling emotionally safe with this person. And it might involve having a really difficult conversation with them. A really honest conversation that actually I've noticed that when you do this, I don't really feel safe to be in my body and to be in my arousal with you. And that can be a challenging conversation, but it is a necessary conversation. Okay, so I think that question it's probably going a little bit like too deep and too one-to-one. You can book a one-to-one coaching session with me if you want me to like really dive deep into the nuances of that. You can find the link in my bio to book what would be a clarity coaching session. Yep, that's okay, no worries. I saw your other question. My response to that other question is I think it's probably too personal, and I think it's probably too nuanced for this medium. So I would encourage you to book a clarity coaching session with me to receive one-on-one guidance around that. But I hope that what I have shared with you is helpful. I do see some more of you joining, and actually we're just at the end now. So yeah, I'm going to do another one of these next Tuesday, time to be confirmed, so check that out. But generally these will be every Wednesday at this time. So thank you so much for those of you who have asked questions. If you do have any other questions that you want me to cover, you can DM me. I will ask them anonymously if I feel like it's beneficial for everybody, and if I feel like it's a little bit too personal, a little bit too nuanced and specific to your precise situation, then I would encourage you to book a one-on-one coaching call, which, as I say, is a clarity coaching call. You can do it through the link in my bio. You're most welcome. It has been a delight to be on live with you all and to see those of you joining. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will see you Tuesday, time to be announced.